is happening, Magnusites? For all of you that have been waiting for Bloodborne 2, this is the closest we're going to get to it for now. I gotta say, if you had told me that FromSoft did this game, I would have believed you. That's how good of a Souls-like it is. That's how good of a soulsborne game that it is. For those of you that do not know what that's like, Souls-like comes from Dark Souls. Soulsborne comes from Dark Souls, and the fact that they also made Bloodborne. So this game is a combination, really, of, I guess you would say, it feels mostly like Bloodborne and Sekiro, but you do have elements, I just guess you could say, of Dark Souls or Demon Souls in it. And I absolutely love this game. Now, you could watch my playthroughs and you might think maybe he doesn't, but as frustrated as it made me, specifically only the boss fights, I really loved getting good at this game. So this story follows Pinocchio, okay, and I like the way they did this story. While most things from software, as far as Dark Souls go, or anything like it, they're more cryptic with their story. I wouldn't say that most people play it for the story, because the story can be esoteric, cryptic, mysterious. Might even have to dig for it. You know, there are channels that are dedicated to different games from software to the story, digging the stuff up and, you know, just putting it all together for you. Me personally, as a Soulsborne player, never really cared much for the stories because they're not story-based. They don't feel story-based, at least. But this one is based on Pinocchio, which we're all familiar with, but I would say very loosely based on Pinocchio. And there's callbacks and Easter eggs and hints and winks to the story, but it's, you know, like I said, it's very loosely based on it, okay? So, I gotta tell you, at the end of the game, at the very, very end of the game, they give a hint of doing another game based on another fairy tale, and I can't wait. If you look, Liza P people, you see this review? Please make it. Please make the next game, because I love this. I love it. I'm on New Game Plus right now. Excellent graphics, okay? Excellent music, operatic, the dramatic music that you will find in something like Bloodborne or Dark Souls. It's all in there. Most of the tracks I felt fit, okay? Now, the battles, the fighting. There's a lot of... I guess you could, maybe. I don't know if you can get through the game without learning how to parry. I guess you could, but parrying is a must in this. I don't know if it's as essential as Sekiro, but it's very essential. You must learn to parry, okay? Blocking, parrying, dodging. I spent the majority of the game trying to learn the perfect parry, okay? Because when you perfect parry, you don't take any damage. You lose some stamina, but you don't take any damage, and it helps break the stance of the boss or the character that you're fighting. Now, also, what's crazy is I'm usually a strength build type of guy, and I like to find heavy axes. That's my thing. I find a heavy axe or a hammer or something like that. And there's not much poise in this. So, if you don't know what poise is, like, you could if you have a heavy axe and you're in the middle of swinging it, there's a certain point in Dark Souls where the enemy can't stop you. They can't hit you with anything that will stop you from pulling that move off. They can do it a lot in this game. And there's only certain points of certain attacks where you actually can get it off. Only certain ones. So it's pretty much non-existent. So, you know, do what you will with that. As far as the weapons go, you can mix and match all your weapons. You can take the handle off and you can take the blade or hammer or whatever else it is off. You can mix and match it with different weapons. So, say you have a dagger and you want to take the handle off of that and put it with a massive hammer. Well, that hammer now will have the moveset of the dagger. So it'll be faster, but it won't have the power of the hammer. But it'll be much more powerful than the dagger. Get it? Okay. And with it, you get to mix and match their fable arts, which are like their ashes of war, I believe. The bosses, man, pisses me off just starting to talk about it. The bosses irritated the hell out of me. Not all of them. The ones in particular were like the Black Bunny crew, the chick with the lightning, you'll see, or Sassaflax, whatever her name is, X-Lax. The last one bothered me, Geppetto's puppet, and Victor. Victor, I don't know what it was about Victor. Victor, man. So go into this game with your patience. Remember that. Go into this game with your patience. But the game gives you plenty to fight back. It really does. Gives you, you know, you've got your different add-ons. You know, you're going to be managing your capacity, which is, you know, the whole how much weight you're going to carry, all that stuff. But you really don't get any armor, but you do get things that are like armor. So there's different rings. There's different, like, what do they call them? Is it capacitors? I can't remember. I think it's like capacitors and, you know, it's just different things you can wear. You do get different outfits, but they don't really help at all with your, I don't think they help at all with, you know, as far as damage goes. Not many secrets, I would say, in the game. It's pretty linear. I found like one secret area, I think. One, maybe two, I think only one, though. One secret area. But it being linear doesn't bother me. You know, as much as I love the Elden Ring, which I would say is probably the best Soulsborne game out there, period, point blank. Excuse me. I was fine with the linearness of it. Certain mini bosses were really hard. Were harder than what I thought they were going to be. But I gotta say this: during the boss fights, you are able to bring in a specter, something to help you out. Reminds me of the Mimic, or calling somebody in to help you from other games. And it did make certain fights a lot easier. Like, it just didn't die like a punk. Like, it actually really started to kick ass. You know what I'm saying? So, all in all, man, I loved the game, man. I gotta give it a 4.5 out of 5. Woo! So while it was not perfect, I liked the story of how the puppets went crazy, and you gotta stop them, and who's behind the puppet frenzy, and what's going on, and the whole energy of it, the ergo that you use. But the ergo is like your souls. So you have your ergo, but the ergo affects the puppets in one way, but it affects humans in another way. So I think anyone that is a Soulsborne fan, I think is going to enjoy this game. The majority of you will. So if there's anything I missed, post it in the comments. But I don't think I wish you guys had a better area to farm, though. Farm ergo. Okay, please, in the DLC or whatever, give us something that lets us farm a lot easier. I think that would help. Also, you have a P organ. The P organ is his heart, and with his heart, you can say, you can level up in other ways. So if you want a extra flask, if you know, they're not called flasks, they're called like pulse cells, that's what they're called. If you want an extra one, you can upgrade that slot by, say, the slot will have 2 holes. So you'll say, give yourself stronger attack power and, I don't know, faster dodging. Once you fill that cell, that slot, for the extra pulse cell with those 2, then you got both of those powers plus the extra pulse cell. If that makes any sense to you. It took me a second to figure out how it actually worked. But once I got used to it, I was like, okay. So, yeah, I think that's about it. 10 million subscribers.